Well, hello, I'm Ken Anthony from Device Brewing Company. We're here to taste a couple of my beers. I'm going to walk you through a flight of 4 and tell you a little bit about each one of them and what we do to create and capture those flavors. So the first beer we're going to look at here is our Kid Casual Blonde Ale. This is an award-winning blonde ale at the State Fair. We brew this beer year-round. It is a golden ale or a California blonde ale. The character of this beer is mainly for a very light malt sweetness and a very subdued hop character. We use American two-row and Pacific Northwest hops. What really comes through in this beer is the light, balanced malt sweetness. Without being sweet, it is a very dry finishing beer. It's got a good mouthfeel, very effervescent, and very, very clean in hot weather. This is an absolute winner for a hot day. Now we're going to take a look at our Pincushion Pilsner. This is a German-style Pilsner. This beer is brewed with primarily Weyermann Pilsner malt and Hallertau Mittelfrüh hops. They're German hops and German malts, both imported. A lot of new craft beer drinkers are most familiar with light American lagers brewed by the large domestic breweries. What's nice about brewing a craft Pilsner is you can touch on that style of beer with the consumer while still providing them with a very high quality craft product. Now this beer has a nice hop character to it, although it's not hoppy the way we think of hoppy when talking about IPAs. But as far as lagers are concerned, the Pilsner style is definitely one of the hoppier styles. We're at almost 30 IBUs with this, with our Hallertau Mittelfrüh hops, and this beer is very light at about 5.3% alcohol. Beautiful summer beer, very clean, very dry. It's got great body, great mouthfeel. It's quite dry. Finish is very clean. You can enjoy this with just about any meal, and it certainly will not compete with the flavor of the food. And as far as a warm weather beer, this is probably one of my favorites right now this summer. And the third beer that we're going to look at here is our flagship beer. This is Imperial IPA. This is one of the first beers that we came out with when we opened our brewery 3 years ago. This is a standard traditional West Coast style IPA, 7% alcohol. This beer is brewed, as you can see next to some of these very light beers, is brewed with a fair amount of caramel malt. We use caramel and crystal malts in this along with American two-row. We use a ton of Pacific Northwest hops in here, most notably is Mosaic, which is a very popular hop right now for aromatics. So this beer has a nice, rich malt character to it, but a huge hop flavor and bittering that comes through without being overpowering. This beer is only about 45 to 50 IBUs, so it isn't a huge bitter bomb, but it does leave a nice bitter in your mouth. Really good with spicy food, wings, things like that. Really, really a nice beer with bold flavored foods. The aroma on this is amazing. It's got a great pineapple, peach and mangoes coming through. A little bit of dank from the Columbus hops and the boil. Just a wonderful tasting beer. And there's a reason it's our best-selling beer. It absolutely is. It's just a perfect IPA. Wonderful, wonderful balance to it. It's not overpowering. Very easy to drink, and definitely one of my favorites. Well, last but certainly not least is Britsyn Moscow, our Russian Imperial Stout. We also won an award at State Fair for this one, for the Imperial Stout category. This beer is brewed with more than 10 different malts. We use imported malts as well as American two-row. We use a lot of hops in this beer. In fact, I believe this beer is at 60 IBU. So it has a great strong bitterness to it. It has a very, very complex layered malt character. There's notes of chocolate, molasses, coffee. There's just a nice malty character to it, some caramel notes. Just a really, really complex beer, tons of body, tons of just real nice flavors that come together. quite nicely. Then the reason it's so aggressively hopped is because if we didn't, it would just be a very, very heavily malted beer. But to actually put in even more hops than in our single IPA into this beer, we actually help balance the beer out because of that really, really rich malt character. This beer finishes a little bit higher in gravity, so there is some residual sweetness behind in this one. However, it is not cloyingly sweet. We don't carbonate this as high as some of our other beers, so we can keep that mouthfeel a little bit more velvety, a little more texture to it, not so much sparkle and effervescence. We do have a barrel-aged version of this beer. We put it in whiskey barrels. Beer is a very lovely beer, great beer any time of the year. I prefer this beer in cold weather, but we have customers that seek this beer out even on the hottest days. So, you know, the aroma is nice. I'm picking up a lot of dark chocolate and coffee. That's what I smell, just wonderful, wonderful, rich roasted malts. Just smooth and delicious. Very, very easy to drink. Certainly not cloying, not boozy at all at 9.5%. You can barely taste the alcohol. Truly a fantastic Russian Imperial Stout, and we're definitely very proud of this beer. Well, thank you so much for taking some time with me today to talk about some of our beers here at Device Brewing. We have a lot more beers for you to try, so we certainly would encourage you to come down to our tap room or ask for us at your local bar or restaurant. We hope to see you down here, and we certainly thank you for being a part of the craft beer community.